E ciao a tutti ragazzi, benvenuti in questo nuovo video. Però allora, da me adesso sono le 22:36 e sto registrando sto facendo la seconda parte del messaggio misterioso prima che è scomparso. Ricordate di mettere like e iscrivervi al canale di Dry Fruits e anche al mio. Però adesso iniziamo. Se va però. Potrebbe caricare ragazzi. E poi
Joking, like footsteps but echoey. Alvin is claiming that he hears footsteps coming out of his mind, and at first this seems pretty odd. What could possibly be making those sounds he hears? But then I realized that the footsteps are most likely just coming from some hostile mob that spawned down there, like a zombie or skeleton. And after taking a closer look, we can actually see that there's no torches lighting up the bottom of it, which almost confirms this theory to be true, due to monsters needing complete darkness in order to spawn in. And after solving that mystery, I moved right on to the 8th screenshot. At first, screenshot 8 looks like nothing too extraordinary is going on. Just a picture of the scenic view of the forest outside of his base. However, then I read his message. Might just be in my head, but I feel like I keep seeing stuff like quickly moving every time I turn the camera. I'm probably just tired, lol, I don't know.
Allora, quello che ha detto è che probabilmente sta solo nella sua testa e sembra che vede cose che si muovono velocemente quando gira la telecamera, forse è semplicemente stanco.
No, though. Now, unlike all the previous screenshots before this, I really didn't have an immediate explanation for this one. I did want to try pointing out that it could just be some mob he sees wandering around, like a sheep or pig. However, the way he is phrasing it makes it seem like this can't be the answer. He says that he keeps seeing stuff quickly move out of frame every time he turns around, which doesn't really fit the description of any normal mob. All of them move relatively slowly. The only solution I can come to is that it's all just in his head and he's probably just paranoid, partially due to the other experiences before this. So looking for more answers, I continued on to screenshot 9, and this is where things got scary. Did I break this bed and forget? I swear it was right here. I slept last night. Now things are getting really strange.
Scusate,
Alvin, now back.
quello è che sono troppo conciato. Quello che ha detto Alvin è che non si ricorda se ha rotto il letto e se ne è dimenticato. Però giura che ha dormito la scorsa notte.
Back at his base has found that his bed has somehow vanished. I began looking back at all his other posts and realized something just as equally bizarre. We never actually see Alvin's bed in any of the screenshots. Could it be that he never actually had one? This would explain a lot. Maybe he truly is just tired and is forgetting that he never placed a bed in his base. The closest thing we have to it is seeing him in the process of making one, but we never actually see him craft it, let alone bring it up to his base. So, mystery solved. He never actually had one. He's just misremembering.
Pubblicità!
Cibo per gatti in arrivo domani con Prime. Ecco fatto. Così ora puoi concentrarti.
Right? Well, that's when I took a closer look and realized something terrifying. In screenshot 6, when all the mobs are outside of his base, I remember when he said he couldn't sleep, and by looking just above his hotbar, we see the message, "You may not rest now, there are monsters nearby." If you didn't know, the only way that this message appears is to try sleeping while there are too many mobs nearby, meaning that he must have had a bed. After realizing this, I literally got chills. And things only get even scarier in the next post, screenshot 10, when he says that he even asked his little brother if he went on his computer and messes his world, and his brother said that it wasn't him. But who knows, maybe Alvin could have broken it off camera, and just doesn't remember. I mean, that's really the only explanation I can think of. So not knowing where else to go from here, I clicked onto the following post, screenshot 11, and this was just odd. After the whole broken bed situation, Alvin decided to go mining to clear his mind. But while exploring in a cave, he noticed something peculiar. Found this while strip mining. It's not a cave. It looks like someone tunneled here. Maybe it's Herobrine. JKLOL. I think it's probably just world corruption or something. There appears to be weird tunnels, which look like long, narrow hallways. Alvin jokes around saying it could be Herobrine, a Minecraft myth which is known to leave weird anomalies in your world similar to this, but then he follows it up by saying it's most likely just world corruption. However, to put it plainly, world corruption just doesn't do this. Now, although world corruption can destroy massive chunks out of your world, it never leaves weird long tunnels as seen in the picture. These tunnels, oddly enough, look man-made. And despite spending hours trying to think of a possible reason for this, I just couldn't. I honestly even began thinking maybe it actually was his little brother just playing a lighthearted prank on him. And after looking at the next screenshot in the series, this theory does have some possible validity to it. In screenshot 12, Alvin is now out of the cave and was exploring his world when he came across a long trail of torches. Don't remember placing these torches. They go on for like 200 blocks. I follow them and they just stop. Maybe all of this truly was just Alvin's little brother. I mean, that really seems like the only plausible reason for all of this. The bed disappearing, the weird tunnels, and now these torches? I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. So thinking that we finally put an end to this mystery, I continued to the next post just to make sure. And I had a name tag here. Definitely didn't use it. I swear I remember it was right there. Unless I'm going crazy. If this all just is his little brother, everything honestly does check out. His brother probably went onto his computer and messed with a bunch of things in his world, either to just troll him or trying to freak his brother out. And if it's the latter, then his little brother is obviously succeeding at this point. Alvin has become increasingly more worried and paranoid with every so-called oddity that he experiences. So for further verification, I went on to the next screenshot, number 14. And it's just Alvin outside, staring at the moon, saying he's going to wait until morning to start making some more progress, jokingly saying it would be easier with a bed. And to put it frankly, this was the last screenshot before things quickly became straight up terrifying. Something really weird happened last night. This morning I woke up to the sound of my mom screaming and yelling in the kitchen. I immediately jumped out of bed and ran downstairs to see what was wrong. I asked her what happened, and she said that while she was getting something from the garage, she found her car all scratched up on the sides. She then noticed that the side door, which was normally always locked, was left wide open. She said that someone must have broken in, but what's weird is that it looks like nothing from her car or garage was actually stolen. Very strange. And what makes it scarier is the fact that we were upstairs all asleep when they would have broken in. I really have no clue who would do this. We live in a pretty safe neighborhood and stuff like this never happened. She tried checking the front doorbell camera and it said there was movement in front of the door at 2 in the morning, but the camera didn't catch anything besides a raccoon, so who knows? I honestly didn't know what to think when I first read this. While Alvin and his family were asleep, somebody broke in. But the strangest part about this is that they apparently didn't steal anything. Why would someone break into a house just to not take a thing? Now, his mom did say she found her car all scratched up, but why would someone do this? What could have been their motive? Alvin did mention he lived in a relatively safe neighborhood, so break-ins like this didn't really happen often, if ever. He also mentioned the fact that their camera actually detected movement in front of the garage door at around 2 in the morning. However, they couldn't see anything besides a raccoon scurrying around, which was probably what set off the camera in the first place. But this now leads us into a bigger mystery. Who was this that broke into their house? What would cause someone to do this? And is all this somehow connected to what's going on in Alvin's Minecraft world? Left with more questions than I had answers for, I continued on with Alvin's next post, screenshot 16, and this was bone-chilling. Alvin was still inside his base, just like the last post, but it was a message that caught my attention. Okay, now I'm freaked out. Remember how I said someone broke into our house? Well, it's been a few days, and now we just found something really weird. It was like 1 in the morning. I had just logged off my Minecraft world when I heard a huge crashing coming from what sounded like outside my house. The rest of my family was asleep, and I was debating going downstairs to check. After building up the courage, I quietly went downstairs and looked out the window, but I found nothing. I didn't see a thing. I made sure all the doors were locked before going back upstairs. I tried going back to sleep, but just couldn't. I was just too nervous, especially considering what had just happened a few days ago. When the rest of my family woke up in the morning, I asked them if anyone...
Ragazzi, stasera mi sta venendo mi sta facendo i brividi. Poi dopo devo andare a dormire. Raga, la finisco oggi. Per adesso basta. E ci vediamo domani con un prossimo video. Ciao!